Hi, boys and girls. Before I read our story, I wanted to introduce you to a couple of my friends. This guy right here, this is Charlie. I don't know if you can see him. Charlie likes to hang out a lot. He's just a baby. He's not even a year old yet. And he's very big, I know. He likes to come into the classroom sometimes. So hopefully we get to go back this year and he'll be visiting with us. He loves to be a Rossi Owl. And I'll show you the other two dogs after I'm done the story because they're kind of running around. And Charlie, he might jump down, but right now he's going to hang out with us. Okay, I'm going to read the story Chrysanthemum to you. And this is by Kevin Henkes. So hopefully you can see okay. You okay, Charlie? The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Do you see? She's cute. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And she was old enough to appreciate it. Chrysanthemum loved her name. You all right, Charlie? She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope, just like that. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Look at her, she's so happy. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school, just like you guys did. On the very first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile, and she ran all the way. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. That's not very nice, is it? It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. Wilted's like when you're very, very sad. You just kind of. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Oh, just awful. Do you think her name is awful? Because I don't. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters that are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now, put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students were lining up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Oh, that wasn't very nice, was it? Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. See, they love it. I think it's a great name. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup. Macaroni and cheese. And an evening filled with hugs and kisses and Parcheesi. Parcheesi is a game. See, they're playing a board game. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. Boy, she went from Chrysanthemum, which is really, really long, to Jane. Has only 4 letters in it. Her name has 13. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria, as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. Remember I said wilted's like, oh. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Oh, awful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chudd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. She's so not happy. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower, and they pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle bit better, just a little bit better, after her favorite dessert. What do you think her favorite dessert is? It is chocolate cake with buttercream frosting. And another evening filled with hugs and kisses and Parcheesi. Oh, boys and girls, just real quick. Here is little Oliver. He's another little friend of mine. You'll see a lot of him too. They're all tired. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. Oh, look at that. She sprouted leaves and petals, and Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem, a little tiny skinny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. That's pretty neat. I like all the pockets. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. I don't think the flowers were really saying that, but that morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Miss Twinkle was an indescribable wonder, and they went out of their way to make a nice impression. They wanted to be really nice to Miss Twinkle. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess, and Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy. Joe and Rita and Victoria chanted, thinking it was so funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. "What's so humorous?" asked Mrs. Twinkle. "Chrysanthemum," was the answer. "Her name is so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on her name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "She's named after a flower." So mean. "My name is long," said Miss Twinkle. "It is?" said Joe. "My name would scarcely fit on a name tag," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It would?" said Rita, pointing. "And," said Mrs. Twinkle, "I'm named after a flower too." "You are?" said Victoria. "Yes," said Miss Twinkle. "My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect." Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. "Call me Marigold," said Joe. "I'm Carnation," said Rita, pointing. "My name is Lily of the Valley," said Victoria. Look, they're all trying to change their names now. Chrysanthemum didn't think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. I think that's awesome. So in the end, she started to love her name again. It's a very pretty name, just like all of our names are perfect. And they are all unique like you are. Okay, before we go, I'm gonna show you Mr. Milo. This is my last friend. He's sleeping, he's so tired. Okay, so I want everybody to wave goodbye. Here's Charlie. Where's Charlie? There he is. And there's Mr. Oliver. And they're saying that we will see you later, boys and girls. Bye.